Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody today? Good. That's really good. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it is that time. Once again, it is thumbnail review day. And I have a special guest with me. He's the most specialist. He's the best. His name is... It's Dan.
Oh, I was waiting for the other person to come into the thing. You said it was the most specialist guest, so I'm like, oh, someone else is here. That's great.
The most specialist.
So I think you're confused. That's not me. I'm just a guy.
Oh, he's just a guy. Okay.
Yeah. I kind of snuck in here.
I had a moment where I hit the button on the stream deck to switch it to show both of us, and it didn't work. And it's Dan.
Welcome everybody. Hello. How are you? Are you ready to get your thumbnails thumbnailed?
Gonna nail that review on these thumbnails. Yeah, so let's talk about how this works real quick for those who are new. In our description, there is a little link, and the link takes you to a form that you fill out. The form looks a little something like this, maybe?
That's not the form. That's the form.
Yeah, but this will be your name, not Kaylin Floyd, and then you'll paste the URL, and if I scroll too far, then we'll see their email address, which I won't do, but that's what the form looks like. And so you fill that out, and yeah, it'll submit, and it'll throw your name in a bunch of names, and then we pick them at random through this nifty little extension that Dan made. It says get random number, and if you happen to get picked, then I go to your link and we review your thumbnail to the one you sent. So if you do submit, please submit a specific video so we can see the thumbnail you're trying to show us. If you submit the channel, it's a little more tough, but we'll still get through it. This is a fairly new stream, so you know, we know how to improvise.
We're just gonna yell at you, basically. You did it wrong. We're just gonna Gordon Ramsay it and then send you on your way.
You know, last stream I did, somebody sent they submitted a form and it didn't have a link. They said, I don't have a video yet. And then I figured they might put a channel link. What's your channel about? And they said, I don't have the channel yet. But in the description or wherever it said, but I can send you the video. And I'm like, what? How do you expect me to do this? So yeah. Sorry, I am turning off my my air conditioner back there. It's just very hard. It's loud, so there it goes. I saw the light stop blinking, so it should kick off here in a minute. There it goes. All right, I had to go solo on that one so they could see it because you were making it crop out, Dan.
I'm sorry, okay, I was cramping your frame there.
Okay, one more thing to add here. If I happen to get an idea where I want to show you what I would do with your thumbnail, I'll sometimes bring it into Photoshop. But if you don't know how to use Photoshop, it's totally cool. Don't worry about it. It's not a tutorial. Actually, what I'll be doing is something so fast that it's the wrong way to do it, but it'll just be to give an idea. So, yeah, sometimes I'll do that. So, once again, if you see Photoshop open, don't worry. The things that I do, you can do in Canva or Photopea, Affinity, whatever. MS Paint. Sometimes you can do it on your phone. It depends. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? Let's do this.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna hit get random number, and that says number 50, and then we'll type in number 50. Legacy Trails TV. Let's check it.
You can open it by right-clicking it.
Oh, yeah. So
go there with a new tab.
Yeah, if you select it and then just go to, right?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, have you been copying it and then putting it in the toolbar? Gotcha.
So is Rob.
It's just a little bit easier. All right. So this sort of looks like a tennis team, or
It looks like an Olympic team of some kind, like because the particular sashes they're wearing, or whatever you want to call that.
right?
They're not lanyards. They're like medals. But what's interesting is like, oh no, those are shirts. Those are shirts because the one person in the middle
They're like
doesn't have
vests.
a little medal on it. Yeah, vests or something. Okay, so
Yeah.
they're not wearing medals. They were banned, so they probably didn't win anything, unfortunately.
Okay.
That makes more sense.
Right.
So maybe it is tennis.
Okay. Yeah. I tried to get an idea of what the video is about without reading the title, because sometimes, and I wanted to bring this question up to you, Dan. Sometimes it's important to get the whole package done through the thumbnail. And my question is, do you think it's more important to get the entire idea out through the thumbnail, or the combination of the thumbnail and title? Or, is the title just a cherry on top?
I think it depends. Something that I've been seeing other like thumbnail experts say is that these days, especially, like the idea matters more than the actual title and thumbnail. But your title and thumbnail need to communicate the idea. And then as we know, a lot of us, like I put myself in this camp. I don't consider myself a graphic designer of any sort. So I have to take whatever skill set I have and try and make the best thumbnail I can with a video. And oftentimes I found success, even though I don't think I have the technical skill set that an artist has, right? So with all that being said, I do think it depends on the way you're trying to present the content, because I also believe that the thumbnail and the title could be part of the content. You can tell a joke using the thumbnail and the title as like part of a post, kind of like you would on Twitter. Let's say you're tweeting and you only have an image and text to work with. Like, it could be part of the experience of the video, or someone sees something kind of funny that gets their attention. And they're like, okay, I'm going to click on the video now. So I don't think it's a simple answer. I think it's just, it's a video by video. Your approach could change, and I do think it's as long as the idea is solid and you're communicating that idea somehow, that's really the trick.
Yeah, I I was asked that question, and I'm like, I don't really know how to answer that outside of I just personally always try to get the idea done through the picture, because sometimes people won't even give the title a chance. So I think I found that really interesting.
If the thumbnail isn't going to communicate the video very clearly without the title, I think the thumbnail needs to be shocking or interesting enough to where you're like, what is that about? Like something just really wild in the picture. And you're like, I'm sorry. And then the title helps bring it home and it all makes sense. But there are plenty of situations where we've said, hey, maybe your thumbnail should better communicate the entire video in way of, oh, I don't even need to read the title. I know what this is about. And with that thing we were just seeing, it looked like we were told it was cricket. Thank you. It looked like a cricket team was banned from the sport. And so if you know those vests that they're wearing, then suddenly those pieces start to click, And so someone was banned. And if you have the background knowledge that it's cricket, now oh, this is about a cricket team that was banned. And you don't even need the title at that point. You just kind of, the title will probably make it even more intriguing if it wants to. It'd be like the shocking way this team was banned, or I don't know, like probably better than that because that's kind of lame. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I was really curious about your answer there, and I like the idea of you saying that the package can tell a joke too. It does depend. Everything is a little different. All right, so let's check out this title real quick. Cricket's biggest scandal, Team USA suspension explained.
The scandal. Okay, see, this is exactly what I was trying to get to. Like a good title that takes the thumbnail and like rewards you for understanding. Oh, that's like that cricket team, or oh, that that looks interesting. A sports team got banned from an event. So the title just kind of brought it home. A scandal? Okay, I want to know more.
A scandal. Okay. As far as the thumbnail goes, I mean, I think it gets the idea across. But without, like, we had questions, right? If I don't play cricket, I definitely didn't know what this was. I don't know if some context might be needed as far as like this is a cricket team, or the word cricket in there. Is the channel itself? I was wondering if the channel itself was about cricket only. But
it's I think you could almost leave it with these elements. I think what's getting me is, here's what they did. They put this red stuff I get you're trying to make it look stylized and like you erased this red stuff. But the problem is you're using a very old photograph where there's not a lot of saturation and color, and I don't think you should take that photo and do much to it because it looks like a really classic looking photo. I think what's getting my eye are the sides of the thumbnail. Like my eyes are doing this, and you want me focused on the center of the thumbnail and then the text. And so I think you overproduce the thumbnail, and just my opinion, but that's because that's what my eyes were drawn to first is like, oh, red stuff, because it's so much more saturated than the rest of the thumbnail.
Dude, you are okay. I could not pinpoint it, and I was trying to think of what do I say about this. I know that something doesn't seem right.
Message. I love the thumbnail concept. It's a solid message.
Right. Even if like you took out the black down here and the red, and then you change the background of what is the text, you know, because you could have a text like just a white with a black border and maybe a little drop shadow, and then explained could have the little black black box behind it because yellow pops off of black. It could be that simple over the entire image. And of course the image could be like sharpened up a little bit, I guess. I mean, I don't know what AI could do with that, but it's something to consider as far as like upscaling or whatever.
You know, what's really tripping me out is like there's a line almost in the center of the people that makes it look like two pictures were pushed together, because where the shoulders line up on the not they're kind of there too, but on the people to the left of that, like where their shoulders line up, both pairs of people have a line running straight through, and it's like, wait, were two images just kind of pushed together? What happened there?
Right.
So that keeps just now that we've zoomed in, that's bothering me a lot. But that has nothing to do with the thumbnail designer. I don't think we should have changed anything. I think the red took my attention away from, you know, what I'm supposed to be looking at.
Yeah, it definitely did. It's that color just pops out more than anything else, and yeah. So I would just make sure you know what you're focusing on, and try to accent that. The red just pops off the entire picture, and it definitely catches the eye before anything else. Okay, let's move on.
I want to talk about this real quick because I've noticed this, and I wanted to know if more people were getting this feature. And the fact that someone brought it up is great. So I've been going to live streams, especially on mobile, and there is an AI summary of what the chat is talking about, and it doesn't stay up for long. And also, when you close the stream and reopen it, it keeps changing, probably assuming that it's like continuing to digest the recent conversation and tell you about it. I'm just kind of curious, do you have this right now if you're watching? And do you have it on desktop especially? I'm very curious about that because I've only seen it on mobile. Personally, I don't think it does much for me, this feature. But basically what it does is everything you guys are talking about right now, like the AI will go, oh, the chat is talking about, and then whatever it is y'all are talking about. Like the AI summary on on YouTube for live stream chats. Seeing a lot of no's, seeing a yeah. Sorry, John. It's just a curiosity one.
No, it's all good. I'm just grabbing a few channels, so. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
And Jade is on mobile, so okay. So
yeah, I just saw that.
You're seeing on a mobile. Where's the AI summary? It shows up kind of where we have the poll right now in the pinned comment. It'll just be there for a little bit, and then it'll go away. In any case, by the way, I did start that poll to see how many of you were using Test and Compare. Looks like 31% of you said yes, you're using it. 45% said not yet, and then 25% said they don't have it yet. So I wanted to give you guys a tip if you don't have it yet. I updated a thumbnail on one of my old videos today out of frustration because I'm like, well, I have these two thumbnails I want to try. I'm just going to put one of them there for now. I'm waiting for Test and Compare. Waiting. I came back about an hour later and checked, and I had Test and Compare. So I kind of feel like updating my thumbnail kind of like kicked something on YouTube, and it's like, hey, give me Test and Compare, and it did. So if you don't have it yet, try updating a thumbnail on a recent video and seeing if that works. I might have just gotten lucky. It was like kind of around noon my time, so maybe it was going to roll out to me around that time anyway. All right, John, I've taken over enough. Sorry.
Okay, so this channel is Jamezin. And I think it's in a different language here, maybe some Spanish, and yeah, I think Spanish. Anyway, this is the thumbnail we've got, and because if somebody wants to translate, actually, I don't know. Yeah. So while he does that, I just want to say that the elements of the thumbnail are awesome. The red. Now this might be just me being picky, but the way that the A just hits the edge of that red, it bugs me. If you could just make the text a tiny bit smaller so it would center it. I know why, because you don't want the red to go all the way over to the border, and that was a good call. So yeah, if you could just make the bebida,
so the whole thing
smaller.
The whole thing in English means lack of drink, which makes sense because these are potions.
Okay.
Can we look at the title? I love the composition of this thumbnail.
Yeah.
Other than what you're pointing out, because what you're pointing out is valid.
Right, and if this icon is like widely recognizable by players, then it's really cool, and it looks like it's shaking a little bit. So yeah. I'll go ahead.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we don't know what the title is because we can't read.
It is Minecraft Has a Big Problem, which is a good title.
Okay, interesting. 101 views 3 days ago. So I guess the question is, because I like the thumbnail, the packaging though as a whole. Are we talking about Minecraft is a big problem? Do other people think it's a big problem? Because I know they did something with potions recently. Maybe those of you who still play Minecraft can tell me. Did they get rid of potions? Missing drink. Okay, that Google Translate said lack of drink, but that makes more sense. So, did they get rid of potions, or did something change, or are they just saying you have food in Minecraft but you don't have water? Is that the problem? The biggest challenge, though, with whatever it is people need to either agree with you and go, maybe what's the solution, or better yet, they disagree so hard that it's almost controversial, right? But the thing is, let's see, they added more potions. Okay, interesting. That's what they did with the potions. The thing is, maybe this opinion isn't controversial enough or isn't resonating with the audience, and that's why we're seeing the view count. However, it's 100 views. It's been a few days. Maybe it goes up from here. I just like this thumbnail, so I'm starting to think about other things that could be going on.
Yeah, I think that the only thing to critique here, it might be the concept in the message itself getting across. If you're conveying the idea, which I think you are, then it's just about, is the concept good enough? Because this is a great thumbnail itself. Mm-hmm. Very, very good.
So do players totally disagree that the game lacks water, like drinkable water? Or do they agree really hard and they're like, yep, and they agree with you and keep scrolling? Or is it the fact that they just don't really, they're like, it's just not a topic that's juicy enough for them? I would say with how long the video's been out, it's probably just too soon to tell. But yeah, okay. Anyway, interesting. As just a former Minecraft player, that's just kind of interesting to me.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. So I've got this one here. Got some recognizable icons. Mm-hmm. Which is better for art advice, Discord or Reddit? Okay, so from the thumbnail, I didn't know that that's what it was asking. Which is better for it? It just says art advice, so I didn't catch that at first. I wonder if their character is a part of their branding. Or it's just something they drew, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I didn't love this thumbnail when you kind of had it on the screen for a minute. I think, now that I know the title, I think what would have been better is this classic style of using Discord or Reddit in the thumbnail, making it look like a post that someone typed. Better yet, if it's a real post. But if it's one, let's say someone was giving bad advice on Discord, and you boiled that bad advice down to like 4 words, and you made that look like a Discord message that someone received, like get good or whatever. Like, you're implying that the advice you get on Discord is bad, or Reddit or whatever it is. I feel like because you're talking about like specifically the posts on the platforms, that would have been a better place to come from instead of this, because it just looks like someone holding the Reddit logo and the old Discord logo. Doesn't really tell us much.
Right, okay, all right. I'm glad it wasn't just me. I didn't catch what it was about either until the title. So that aside, the way you portray it is fine. I think that everything's pretty clear and it's not too busy. Like if you're just talking strictly about the composition, I don't like that the art advice is directly on the bottom line. We had just talked about that in the other, but that's just me being picky. I mean, it pops out. It's fine enough. I don't know if some things would need more saturation, but yeah, I think that the concept could come across better with just a different idea itself. Even if you had the half and half, you know, where it's the Discord message on one and the Reddit message on the other, even blurring one out to kind of create that curiosity would help for sure. But yeah, all right, let's go ahead and move on. All right, this one wasn't a specific video; it was more of a channel. I'm getting AI vibes, but I'm not exactly sure if that's what's going on. I haven't clicked on one, but we can check the most popular. These sort of kind of give me like Canva template, but I'm not sure here. Let's take a look. Okay, it's pretty religious focused, I would say.
Was there a voice? Did you hear it? Was it like really AI? Like,
hold on, it's tough to tell. Yeah, it's an AI woman.
okay. Well, anyway, that's kind of like, I guess we could talk about people getting into the content and wondering, you know, how genuine is this? Whatever. I would say the thumbnails that we saw on the channel, like this one, I don't know, a little bit generic. This is not my field of expertise, so I don't know what kind of things other creators are doing in this space that like win the click. But I would kind of think that in order to resonate with an audience, speaking from a more personal point of view, meaning you're on camera and talking about your experiences and things like that, I feel like with this audience would resonate more. But as someone who's not really in this side of YouTube too much, it's hard for me to say definitively.
Yeah, it's tough for me as well. Yeah, I kind of agree about the generic thing. Like, I know somebody that has just started their own YouTube religion channel, and they're very much a part of it, and their thumbnails and everything are focused on them, and then it has like a verse on the side or whatever, and that's doing really, really well because there's something to connect to. So it's tough to talk about these thumbnails. They're fine enough for what you're doing. They look okay. You know, sometimes you like this bless me one, like the text could pop out a bit better. You know, just little things like that. But yeah, it's just about, I don't know. It's tough to connect to something like that.
I think the vibe I'm getting from these thumbnails is kind of generic, you know?
Yeah.
It's like generic Bible content, and I don't think with any niche on YouTube you want to be in the generic category. I think your channel should be, it's like you niche down to prayer. Now, like, can you niche down further than that and focus on specific things that these communities are, you know, interested in learning about or connecting on? And if the channel is in fact like fully like AI like driven, it's difficult to do that. Like, the human element here is so important because this is a very personal thing for a lot of people. And so it's difficult to like look at the content and go, okay, is it really, really benefiting the audience that it's targeting, you know? And yeah, that's the hard part. I know that sometimes it's like, we're doing thumbnail reviews. Sometimes in our position, you have to kind of zoom out a little bit and go, well, to offer some real advice here, it may not be the thumbnails that you need to focus on.
Okay, yeah, that's tough. See, there's this prayers for every day, but the name is Faceless Hope for Life. So in the boom of the Faceless channel situation that we had over the past year, somebody, like the person that had this idea, they were like, well, why can't I make one about, you know, my beliefs and religion and everything? So clearly that's what they did. And it's just, that's a very tough subject to make faceless when people are looking for connection. Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. This one I found really, really interesting. How were matches played in ancient times?
Wow.
This is, to me, it's so unique that it really, really sticks out. Like, the only thing I could say about this is maybe there's something different that they could write on it. But as far as like what they like, it's just something that you don't see a whole lot. And the other option could be this picture versus a current football picture. You know, like something like that.
Oh, I love that idea. I love that because I was wondering, do you need football in the title or not? I don't think it would hurt. And I get that it's there, but this doesn't look like a football match from by any stretch. So the side by side would be incredible because that starts to tell the story without even reading the title.
You wouldn't even need this text here if it just went from like this over here and then an arrow to a current football situation. I mean, you have this shot specifically on football all the time. You know, the whole like panned out or zoomed out. Yeah, that would be really, really cool to get that concept across. I think they're halfway there for sure.
Yeah.
As far as like their aesthetic, they did really well. The sorry, the text, the text pops out and it's fine. The shape behind it, I think it like you can read that clearly.
I think it's just a bit like, okay, you know, I think again, if you have test and compare, and a lot of people do now, if you like any of the advice you hear today and you want to try and apply it to your channel, I encourage you to test an extra thumbnail, even if we're talking about an older video, because videos oftentimes still get impressions for a long time. So you can absolutely take an older video and test the thumbnail you already have with a new one. And that'll just tell you everything you need to know. YouTube will tell you in a handful of days, like how the test went and which thumbnail won out. And automatically it'll change it for you. You don't have to do anything ever. So that's just a tip for everybody. If you ever hear any advice we give during the stream and you're like, I don't know, give it a shot now. If you have test and compare, you have nothing to lose. Since you pulled down the screen, do you want to take a look at the couple super chats we got?
Yeah, go for it. I wanted to make a demo for what we had just talked about. So cool. You do that. I'll answer a couple of these. Data Ray, you're very welcome. We checked out your channel yesterday. Best of luck to you. Extra Father says, just got monetized, but I can't see my RPM just yet. Is there a way I can tell how much money I'm making without looking at my RPM? You might have to wait for the data to come in. I'm not really sure. It changes channel to channel. It can be very random. There are channels that, like gaming channels, have really low CPMs and RPMs, whereas like tech channels have really high CPMs and RPMs. It's kind of about like what advertisers spend more money on. So it's a complicated one. I think if you just wait a little bit longer for the data to come in, that's the best case. But I do understand the eagerness for sure. Let's see. I learned the basics of Photoshop like 15 years ago, but I feel very rusty. I want to learn to do more stuff. What do you recommend on YouTube or whatever to master Photoshop? Yeah, go ahead. I thought you were going. There are a ton of tutorials out there. I never found one specifically. Like I never found a specific channel that I loved because it's kind of tough, but I don't know. I guess like the way that I did it is I just started and I kept trying to make thumbnails that already existed or pictures that already existed, and I tried to do them in my style. And then when I noticed something like, oh, they have this weird outline or shadow or something, I have to figure out what that is, like what the term is. So I'll go search for that for a little while, and then I figure out, oh, okay, it's called stroke and drop shadow. How to do stroke and drop shadow, and then I go over to YouTube and find the answers. And the way that I did it is I just did that one by one by one. Not a specific channel, but like learning by doing has seriously helped me. Yeah,
try to look up specific things you want to learn with Photoshop, which can be frustrating because sometimes it has a fancy name and you don't know what you don't know. But if you have enough patience to Google around a little bit to figure out what is this effect called, once you figure that out, you can look up a tutorial for it. And then usually I've found that those tutorials, oftentimes the creator who's doing them will use a shortcut that I wasn't even thinking of, and I'll learn more than I bargained for. Like, I didn't even know you could do that, you know, just something they did that came naturally to them.
But for sure.
I think if you watch a beginner course on Premiere or Photoshop or whatever software, and you just try and take it all in one shot, you're going to get overwhelmed. That's how I am. Maybe not everyone's like that, but that's certainly how I am. And I learned way more like what John said, which was just like, I need to learn one thing today. so I can make this thumbnail I'm trying to make, or so I can do this edit that I'm trying to do. And I picked up a lot that way. We got a new member here. At RA is a new member. Thank you for becoming a member. Enjoy your emotes. And Aspie Travels says, I got into the YouTube partnership program today. Thanks for vidIQ Boost support. You are absolutely welcome. And
congratulations.
Congrats. Yeah, we're very happy for you.
Okay, sorry, I can't see. Did you run out of super chats?
I did run out of super chats. I will just say, speaking of vidIQ Boost, if you want to learn more about our tools, the link is down below. And yeah, we will probably show some of those off a little bit later on.
Okay, so here's what I got so far. What I saw was that this picture had like a natural line in it. Like I noticed this natural line, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use that to be my halfway mark. So then we've got something like this, and then I don't know, I'll boost the saturation or whatever to make it stand out. Maybe I would make this like contrast a little bit more. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, I just got rid of the text that they had with generative fill. But yeah, so what I would do here is probably, let me just find an arrow out of my big box of arrows.
That's a really big box of arrows.
Well, you know, I'm an arrow enthusiast. What can I say? Okay, this arrow I don't particularly like, but it doesn't matter. The idea is just to have like an arrow of this is what it became. Throw a stroke and a drop shadow on there, and you'll get it. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. Maybe yellow would pop better.
Yellow, red, yeah. But that's
yellow,
this
red,
is kind of
red does pop better, yeah.
That's kind of the vision I think that I had in my mind too. It could be soccer as well, but either way, that's definitely. Oh yeah, I like that. That's definitely going to help bridge that knowledge gap or that barrier that people might be having to the content of like, what is it about? Sometimes doing something like this is better than trying to spell it out with just text. Yeah,
because this became football. This, like, here's football currently, and you immediately recognize that. You can see that because you know what that looks like, and you're like, oh, whoa, that's what football was. Like, it's pretty clear, I think. Yeah, I like that. All right, so anyway, as soon as we had the idea, I'm like, I really kind of want to make that just to get the idea across. Okay, let's get another number, shall we? Dan's magic extension here. Magic number picker.
It is a pretty flawless extension, by the way. It's not available anywhere, but it works for our purposes because you can go to different Google Sheets and it can just read them. It doesn't have to be logged into anything. It's really awesome. I can't believe it worked.
Dude. As soon as this picture, like as soon as the video popped up, I didn't see the thumbnail. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Like that would be a great thumbnail. And sure enough, they used it as the thumbnail. I got nothing for this. It's called Cat Lovable Family, and it's like you see the cats. It's the cutest picture in the world. You click. I mean, that's legitimately their video. So
yeah.
I mean, yeah. I don't, Dan.
The only thing I would say, if I were to be any level of critical, is that the picture could just use a bit of a boost, I guess. It looks like an old photo, but then we saw the video, it looked very recent. So I guess, you know, I would have loved it if you had taken a separate picture of the cats, because what it seems like you did is you had this vertical frame and you cropped into it to make the thumbnail. And I would have loved it if you had taken a separate photo of the cats so that you had a nicer, higher quality image. But that's the only, like, sometimes it is as simple as this, like just a simple photo of like, what's the video about? Like, oh, a lovable cat family. The only thing I would critique is the title. Maybe the title could be a little more intriguing, but I don't know exactly how because I haven't seen the video. It just depends on what the video's about.
It's a vertical, lovable cat family.
Yeah, and it might be a little long because it looks like the entire time the cats are just laying there. There's not a lot going on. So, yeah, maybe the video is a little bit long, and maybe this could have been a really good YouTube short. Maybe you can try that. Maybe you can cut it down to a YouTube short and just try it on the short shelf and see how it does.
Yeah, that is kind of like it's 1 second longer than what a short is.
Oh, I thought it was
like,
7. It was so small. I thought it said 7 minutes.
Oh, yeah, 101. Yeah.
You have to be, when you upload, make sure it's no longer than 59 seconds if you're trying to make YouTube short.
Yep. I mean, I thought like this looks like a shorts channel, you know, because it's all vertical. But then like the ones that go over 1 minute, they're not as easily consumable, you know. So like the popular ones, does popular show shorts?
No, you have to go to shorts and then popular.
Oh, okay. So the most popular 2,000 views, yeah, it is that.
Oh, they did.
They made it. They made it as a short.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah, that was a good call. As far as that, you want us to critique a thumbnail? I mean, it's a really cute picture, but in the context of like a long form video, yeah, it doesn't make sense. But what you did here makes a lot of sense. It's cute though, for sure. Mm-hmm. Cute picture. 174. Midior Gaming. Midior Gaming. Midior. Man, I feel like I've said that out loud before, like Midior, because I remember thinking, wow, I bet that's exactly how you pronounce it. Okay, before understanding anything about it, it looks like maybe we got some new weapons for this game. Maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the addition of the character on the left, if it's about the weapons, which it does look like it is, do we need the character? Maybe something the character's wearing is also part of this like update where it's like, here's some new weapon skins and stuff, and also they have these hats now. It depends on what. Again, I would say if it's just the weapons, I wouldn't have had the character. I would have made the weapons even larger and put them in the center of the frame.
Right. If the character is important to like what is new, then the thing that ruined this is the resolution of that picture. Yeah. Because these are so sharp and he's slightly blurry, and then the background's even more blurry. So it looks like he's a part of the background to me. I guess when you zoom out far enough, I don't know. It's still like he's not the focus, you know. So, yeah, it's just a weapons review. Okay.
Yeah, I would have looked up some other weapon review kind of thumbnails for Helldivers and seen what you're kind of working against to try to make it a little more in line with expectations.
I recently helped somebody about they did reviews too, and it really comes down to the curiosity of like, is this the best weapon in the game? Like something like that, or I don't know, name an older weapon and it's like, this makes everybody switch their, what is it called, loadouts?
Their loadout, right? Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. This changed everyone's loadout. Like these are the kinds of things that you can put where it's like, okay, that creates enough curiosity for me to click because you've opened up a question. What is so important? Why did everything melt? Everything S tier. Major buffs. Yeah, these are some. Yeah, I mean, some of these are S tiers.
Yeah, I see. That's awesome. Like, I like the background they used on the melt everything thumbnail. The two different lines of text that I don't think are too much, honestly. Melt everything, insane damage. The gun is all by itself. It has the white stroke around it to pop off the dark background. The dark background is inoffensive and like, just, you know, it works for these types of videos. I think our hero channel maybe overthought it a little bit. You added a lot there that didn't need to be there, perhaps, or you know, you could have taken like one element and kind of spruced it up a little bit. So yeah, if we look at this, you can see right here the outlier score 4.5x on this video we're looking at. So that means this is an outperforming video for the channel. The channel has 15,000 subscribers. This has 2,500 views, which means this video is doing slightly better than what the views they've regularly been enjoying. And this is a newer tool of ours. We have vidIQ installed in your extension, Edge, Firefox, Chrome. it will show you these types of stats and what John's clicking on up there. And so we love the outlier tool because of this. It's a really quick at a glance when you're doing your research to see like which videos did exceptionally well. The one below it did even better. That channel has 8,000 subscribers and 35,000 views on a video similar to the one above. Then now we know it's like, wait a minute, this purifier weapon seemed to be of interest to a lot of people. A channel getting way more views than they have subscribers, which is always awesome to see. So outlier tool is excellent for this type of research, and it's something that especially is worth mentioning during this particular live stream because we're just constantly talking about thumbnails and making stuff that stands out.
Dude, this is getting 1.2 thousand views per hour.
Wow,
Purifier.
it was uploaded a day ago. That's gonna be
One day ago.
That's gonna get 100,000 views quickly.
Midior, the Purifier is jump on it right now.
I'm not playing Helldivers, so I'm not really sure what it is about. Maybe you as Helldivers players, some of you will like understand. Oh, it's not about the weapon; it's about some other element. Like, but whatever that is really gaining a lot of interest right now.
I wonder if, I wonder how much the title helps in this situation, or if it's just the topic itself. The new Purifier, which is really cool, like what's new about it, that's curiosity. And then Purifier Expert reacts. Like, his channel has nothing to do with the Purifier, but Purifier Expert, I found that kind of interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot about that creates curiosity, but I think the main thing is the topic. It's just a trend. Yeah. So, that might be something to focus on. Increased damage. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'll move on. But yeah. 64. Do 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 do. The Swedish Car Guy.
Okay.
Some of these start with it shows the thumbnail and like it doesn't autoplay, and sometimes it does. So I guess we do see the thumbnail immediately.
I've noticed that. That's very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of car channels that we notice, they focus on how beautiful and awesome they can make a car look in their thumbnail, and those are the ones that perform the best. That's something that I've noticed. I always like try to push people to create curiosity, like open up a question that needs to be answered by clicking your video. It doesn't work the same in car niche for whatever reason. They want to see amazing, beautiful cars, and that's what gets the clicks. I don't know why it's different, but the best, this is pretty cool. I think you're doing exactly what you should be doing. How do you think we could improve this specific image?
I really wish they would have taken this picture somewhere else, because that dark pillar behind the car is just ruining the aesthetic for me. It really like takes away from the shape. Like when it comes to cars, they, the being able to see that silhouette is just really, really important, especially because we're looking at a very dark paint color. There's not much you could do about the dark paint color. But I would have taken this photo somewhere else, and then using, Adobe's tools, you could have maybe tried to edit out some of the background noise going on there as well. But that dark pillar is really taking away from what would have been a pretty excellent looking photo, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if you would just I'll show you what I mean. If you got the selection of the car itself, and then I don't know, get rid of that, and then we just mask it. Okay, so immediately I can kind of tell that the car will pop off even off of a bright background if it had to. I just want to sharpen up those lines a little bit. So let's let's just throw that since I had it ready anyway. But like obviously you'd want to change. I don't know, like ground here and sky in the background, but I really think that it would benefit, just like Dan said, off of something brighter, so you can see how sharp it is. And then of course the idea that I like to try at least is to blur the background itself and make the foreground stick out. Even if this was blurred in the background, it would have worked pretty well. But you know, the overexposed, yeah, the background could just be different. I think that would have worked.
Yeah, I think the angle is good. And I think it showcases the car in the way that the creator wanted. It's just the environment around it is really hogging a lot of the attention.
Yep. Oh, so one
to be
thing
fair, the
that
video is doing well, by the way. Like it's not like the worst thumbnail ever. It's just these are just improvements.
Right. This might be like a little more detailed than you need to be, but if I were to change the background, I would have noticed after a certain amount of time that the reflection in the car wouldn't match in outside. It matches more of a warehouse garage. So I would look for a picture like that. That would probably help out a lot better. Okay, let's move on here. I would have sat for a while wondering what was really wrong with this picture. Like, why doesn't it look like it's outside?
Yeah.
It's because it's not. Okie doke. Alright, we got is this a Rio review? Gotta close all these pictures of football. Okay. Watching Rio 2 and fighting the urge to dance. Okay. Okay, so it's more of like a reaction kind of video. I see. It's an interesting angle, and I'm not even sure what you would search to see what other channels do. The fighting the urge to dance, is this a trend maybe?
I kind of feel like they wanted to do a reaction and a commentary about this movie. I don't know. I
think so too.
I did want to say, like, the title is, I guess, just a little like, oh, okay, you know, there's I'm missing that element of what am I going to get out of watching the video. Usually when I see people talking about a movie, they are kind of like giving their opinion about it, and usually it's like a hot take of some kind or something. So
right.
that was missing for me. I actually like this thumbnail. I think this fits the vibe of like hey, I'm gonna watch this with you guys and talk about it, kind of like video.
Yeah, I agree. I even like the amount of effort that was put into cutting out and making sure that the bird's wing goes in front of her.
Yeah.
And the leaf there. Yeah, I think it's fine, and I think at least like the brightness and everything, it fits really well too. Man, she threw a stroke in there and a drop shadow on it as well. So like clearly she knows what she's doing. Yeah, I like it. I just think that maybe the packaging itself, like the concept, could have used some work.
Yeah.
Like what? Okay, so I have this problem a lot. What are you offering with your video that a viewer can't get from anyone else? And in this situation, you're offering you and your personality, and you're offering authenticity, and nobody can be you. So that's the edge you've got, right? And if you focus on that, it's admirable, but it's not what gets the views. And I hate that it's not, because you want people to get to know you, and eventually when you're already popular and established, like Markiplier, it doesn't matter what the packaging is, you're going to get views. And that's when like you have this thing where your personality can sell. But starting, it's really, really tough. I do that all the time, where I'll be like editing a video and then I'll go back through it, I don't know, like a week later, and I'm like, man, I do this personal story and this whole thing in the beginning that is kind of funny, but it's like people don't care about you. They want your value. They'll care about you later. You know, it's right. A hard habit to get out of. But yeah, I would just work on the concept, or not the concept, the pitch a little bit. Great thumbnail. 5. Jump into the low numbers. 150-year-old abandoned place into the dark. I think that was the arrow I just used. All right, so right now I notice we've got sort of a repeat when it comes to the title and the thumbnail. You know, the dark tunnels, or abandoned 150-year-old building. Okay. So,
Yeah.
First, there's a lot of text here. So I probably wouldn't use that much text. The red doesn't pop off the way that you'd think it should. So I like the picture, and it's really cool. It almost gives me like labyrinth type vibes. Exploring the dark tunnels of an abandoned 150-year-old building.
You know when you go to like a store and they have all the 4K, 8K TVs and they're using a lot of footage to showcase how crystal clear the image is? This to me, like every little detail is in focus. And I'm wondering how they did that for one, but two, it reminds me of that. And the problem with that I have is usually with thumbnails, you want your eye to go to one specific part.
Right.
Everything is in focus. It's a cool picture, but I don't think it makes for a good thumbnail.
Yep, it is a cool picture. So yeah, I would take a look at. Let's check out like abandoned buildings.
Yeah,
abandoned places, just to see. Okay, so here's one that they just used the picture and they didn't cloud it up with text. So if you're showing something, you know, impressive like that, then it's okay to not use text and just, yeah. I mean, dude, this is almost like the exact title template that they had. So it's like an opera house, it looks like. Yeah, I would just, if you're dead set on using that picture that you used, then I would just get rid of the text itself. But there's probably a better way. Like there's probably a better picture. Sometimes we'll usually see them in the video itself. Yeah, I would just kind of explore what else you got. Like if you're talking abandoned tunnels, like this is like this creepy tunnel vibe like that. Yeah, that creeps me out a little bit. You know, you could probably spice something up like that. It's just an idea.
I would love to have seen this from more zoomed out, kind of like, because it's just hallways and stuff. It makes me wonder, is there an outdoor exterior part of this, and what does it look like? Because it could be in the ground too, and then I'd be like, wow, do you have a drone?
Right.
But yeah, that's even a pretty cool picture. I think there's probably what they did is they took a frame from the video. That's why everything looks so sharp and in focus, because that's how they're shooting the video. And yeah, I would say no text. Let the title do the heavy lifting, kind of like we saw those other abandoned building thumbnails. And you need to get a part of the place that gives a lot of context. You know, the picture right now has just too many layers to it that they're using. Like you have a wall over here, you have a doorway in the middle, but you have a wall over here, and there's vines, and there is it's like such an overstimulating picture for the eyes. And this, I can tell the video is really cool, but
yeah,
the thumbnail is not going to sell it, I'm afraid.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely doesn't give the right vibe. But they're like, even this dark tunnel thing, like it just, I don't know. This gives me the Paris catacombs like style.
Yeah.
Which is inherently creepy. But yeah, so there's probably a better picture to really give that concept that you want. Yeah, I really liked that picture that they had too, the opera house. Okay, let's move.
For those
on.
asking how you get your channel looked at, fill out the form linked in the description below. We are picking at random.
Like that.
Like that.
Big Bad Jones. Amazon Jeep revival. Will Amazon parts last on a 40-year-old Jeep? Oh, okay. I didn't understand at first what that meant. Okay, so this is one case where I'd say your logo is distracting from the value you're trying to offer. Now, it's your choice whether it's a part of your branding. You know, that's everybody has their own opinion on what they should do. I just think it's distracting because it's one of the first things that I notice outside of the Jeep. Then you have the Amazon logo, which is a good call because it's recognizable. But, I mean, at this point with Jeep Revival, which, I mean, we're looking at a bunch of different fonts here.
Yeah.
Which I think just kind of looks cheap.
There's a couple things that should have been done differently. This looks like a still from the video that you put text on. You really should take a picture of your Jeep separate, like from the recording of the video. And I think what would have been really interesting is if you had a part from Amazon and you held it up, you have the Jeep in the background. Your hand is taking up half the frame holding the part from Amazon. And then a number, like there's an arrow with a price pointing at the part, like $40 or whatever, implying this is a cheap part. Because when people think Amazon, people think cheap. And I assume based on the title of the video, you are using cheap parts. So I'm thinking the $ amount would have sold this a little bit better. Than what you have now. So we needed a better picture of the Jeep, and we needed to do just part of the background a little bit. And then you holding the part would have been a better play. And it's not too late, by the way, to try that if you agree. And again, you guys have access, a lot of you now, to test and compare. So you could probably put them in the same test and see what does better.
Yeah, I definitely think that would be the way to go. I was thinking about like drawing the part, and like this is how this is how far I got, which it kind of looks like somebody just holding a milkshake or something. but like
so yeah, that something like that, maybe a little larger, but like more towards the center of the frame, like something in that vein. Yeah, maybe to the left a little bit because we want room for the Jeep on the other side. So you go ahead and draw a Jeep real quick.
Okay, I'm doing it with my mouse.
You got it. You got it.
There's
a bed
here.
Okay. Yep,
it's a car. It's a car bed.
You want the front though. The Jeep, the front of the Jeep, the grill is really iconic. So you want to make sure that the grill is in there. John messed it up real bad. But maybe just pretend this is the different angle, John. You got to change the angle of the Jeep. It's just too to the side. We need a Jeep more towards the front.
Okay, so it's something like no. Oh, this is real bad.
It's too front facing. It needs to be slightly angled.
You told me. You said it's too to the side. I don't know. Okay.
Okay, but the idea is there. So then an arrow pointing at the milkshake and the price of the milkshake. Can you clean a $40 milkshake out of a Jeep from Amazon? That's something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the Amazon logo is still pretty cool to have in there. Even if it's on like under the little price tag. It does help.
We are at the halfway point. Would you like to shift gears a little bit?
Let's do it.
Okay. If you guys want to ask some questions, we got some time. Particularly about thumbnails, but it could be about other stuff too. If you just can't with thumbnails right now, hashtag question and then ask a question. We'll grab some as best we can. And while you do that, I will answer the super chat question we got from ED Pulse a little bit earlier. Advice for using test and compare on older videos. How many impressions should an older video still get to make it worth it? Best practices. I'd say if you have an older video that's getting even 1 impression a day, that's something that YouTube tried it somewhere, and that's how you know there's still a hope. If you're getting 0 impressions, which I feel like is kind of rare, for if the video is recent enough, you can make a community tab post, do to your test and compare, make a community tab post with like a poll in it or something, and like just try and get people to like engage with it again as best as you can. And that can help. Like we've done that in the past, and that can help like jumpstart the video again. So yeah, I don't think it's ever too late if you have an idea and you want to try it. Sometimes you just don't want to dwell on old videos. Sometimes your energy is better spent working on something new. But if you see an older video and you're like, oh, I remember spending so much time on that, and now I have this brilliant idea for some new packaging, it doesn't hurt to try it.
I agree.
All right. So I'm seeing people just type hashtag question, which doesn't really help. You got to ask a question too.
I can answer those.
Okay.
Hashtag answer.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see what we got here. So here, you can start here because I haven't been here for all these streams.
Have you reviewed any Fortnite thumbnails? Maybe about 30 or so. The Fortnite, it's a very specific style. I would say they all work, and the only way that you can do it is to do it very similar to everybody else's and somehow separate yourself through the curiosity. What would make them click your Fortnite thumbnail over everybody else's? Because I've seen people try to do different Fortnite thumbnails that don't look like everybody else's, and they fail every time. It's insane. I don't know why. In Fortnite, it seems like that's kind of the only niche that I've noticed that does that. Somebody did Fortnite stories one time. I think it might have been in the last maybe it was 2 streams ago, and they still used like the same style Fortnite characters, but they just kind of made it their own. So and then like there were a couple others that kind of separated from that style. Those didn't perform as well. That was with you, Dan. I think that was. We really liked the one. Well, anyway, yeah. So hopefully that helps a little bit. We have done it, and we'll probably do a bunch more as they come through. There's a lot of Fortnite channels out there.
So I'm grabbing a bunch of questions, most of them thumbnail related, a couple not. So okay, I've grabbed a batch of your questions, and let's go through these. So, is it better to have text on my thumbnail, or is that not necessary?
It definitely depends. Like, for sure. I mean, sometimes a couple words are like really, really needed. I wish I could. I just had examples to show, and I probably do. I'll whip some up, but it depends, and what we can come back to it. If
we've definitely talked today about thumbnails that don't even need text, so it's kind of, I don't want to say it's personal preference, because it literally is. But if you're looking for like data-driven answers, you want to look at videos that are about similar topics and have. Can you tell the story without text? Because if you can do that, that's really good. You've broken down any language barrier that exists in the content, and people can see the thumbnail, see the title, and kind of understand everything. Is red text with a black drop shadow or outline a good or bad idea?
Red text, black drop shadow outline. Oh, that only depends on what the background color is.
I don't like black text on a thumbnail, or red text on a thumbnail, personally.
I guess okay, so yeah, here's some of my favorite thumbnails. Not a single one has red text, and I never noticed that. Yeah, sometimes maybe coming out here. Yeah, no red text. I mean, it's not a terrible idea, but like it really, really has to pop. It's hard to find a good background that red pops off besides black. So
yeah,
yeah. I think it can work, but sometimes it can't. Most of the time, it can't.
What can I do better to make my thumbnails more attractive to click? I picked this one. It's very generic as a question for this particular, because we're not looking at channels from the questions. So I just want to pick this as a PSA. Like, there's not a whole lot we could tell you without a more specific question. But what I will say is that if you have a similar question, always do research. Do thumbnail and title research on videos similar to the videos that you make, and look at their views, look at their sub counts, look at all that stuff with vidIQ installed. It's very easy to see that stuff at a glance, and get an idea of what is making those videos attractive to so many other people. you know, and really ask yourself, like, okay, when I made a video about this, it didn't get as many clicks, you know, how could I have done better? And it's so much easier to do that when you kind of get a sense of like what is working in a certain space. How can I create thumbnails which stand out in the self-improvement niche?
Okay, so a couple points to make. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. When it comes to... Actually, let's jump back to the one about text, because this is going to work for both. Okay, so here's just a couple examples of like why text can work and why it's not necessary. Like this behind the scenes image right here, without the word easy, just imagine that that's not there. I'm not sure what this is, but easy just kind of made it easier to understand. This Your Time Is Now, Sonic in front of a YouTube logo is cool. Your Time Is Now really popped out, and text often is about getting the idea across faster than if somebody's going to go down and check the title. Right here, already perfect, kind of necessary to get the point across. Literacy rates necessary to understand what the graph is, because otherwise it's just a random graph, which happens sometimes. But yeah, this saved $12,000. I don't like how the text it is difficult to read, but if it's just a fence, then okay, cool, nice fence, but saved $12,000. It got the point across, and the title wouldn't have to have 12,000 or anything in it. Like I saved money, it could just be in the title. So yeah, text is important to get ideas across sometimes, but sometimes it's not. Like this right here, it's just like a really impressive picture of Lego skeletons or whatever. This one right here, no text in it, but it's like super interesting. So it just depends. Now for self improvement, I've noticed that a lot of things, it's usually like a face and words. It's when you think of like Mark Manson. Let's just look at his. Hold on, I probably got some self improvement on my YouTube that just pops up. Yeah, like Dan Coe here. Most of his are just, most of his are just his face and text. A lot of these self-improvement are the same. So if you go to Dan Coe and you click videos and popular, you'll see the ones that really stuck out, and try to get ones within the first year, because some of them just keep getting views, and they might be the most popular technically, but it's because they're the oldest. So when you do that, you can kind of see what works for them and how can you stand out. I've been trying to think of that myself. Mark Manson is a great example of this, though. This is something that I've been considering. When you look at his more recent videos, you'll see like, you know, his face and text. But if you go further back, you'll see like him in these action situations that kind of come across a little more interesting to me. Like this day 1, day 7, that really, like, you know, it's really interesting. It gets a point across big time. Him hanging off of a cliff here is one of my favorites. I really, really dig this one. And you can kind of see all of his thumbnail tests too, which I found really interesting. But yeah, so I think that that's a way to separate yourself out in the self-improvement niche, putting yourself in the situation, like an action scene. I really, really love that. Like this thumbnail too, I think is amazing. So yeah, hopefully that helped a little bit. I've been looking into that myself.
We have, let's see, what are good React thumbnail references? So I'm guessing like for reaction videos.
Moist Critical is not one. He is not the guy to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an example of a reputation preceding all rules. I don't know. Markiplier is, man.
Yeah, like when I think about reaction, I do think about those. It's like you have face on one side and thing that is nuts on the other side. You know, it's usually a pretty standard template.
Yeah. Something sort of like I typed in Markiplier, but then I just see like a reaction face and then like something in the video that really makes the video stick out more than anybody else's. Um, like that. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Hey, there's me.
Going here. What if you have a very slow start to getting monetized? What are the odds of getting high earnings unless you learn the magic of YouTube? So I thought it's kind of an interesting way of putting it. So there's a couple things here. High earnings, just important to note. It depends on what niche you're in. If we're talking about literal like RPMs and CPMs, because that's all determined by the type of content you make and what advertisers are willing to pay to advertise on that content, plus memberships and every other thing. If you're talking about getting more views and you're kind of like taking that and assuming earnings, fair enough. It's try not to think of the YouTube algorithm as magic. I want you to imagine this from YouTube's perspective for a moment. YouTube is a company trying to make sure people prioritize them when they want entertainment. So imagine you turn on your smart TV and you have a few apps in front of you. You got Netflix, you got YouTube, you got HBO, you got whatever. YouTube wants you to click YouTube. And once you do, it wants you to only spend your entire evening there. So YouTube is not, the algorithm is not for you as creators. It's for you as viewers. It's to make sure that it's serving you things you want to see. That's not magic. There's a lot of technology that goes into it, but it's not magic. It is literally like years and years and years of data-backed analysis compiled in a way that's like, this is what this particular person enjoys watching. And I think it can get as granular as the time of day you're watching it. I used to get recommendations. I used to talk about this. I haven't talked about it in a while, but I will get recommendations at different parts of the day that seem to be consistent with that time of the day. So it knows in the mornings, if I'm like making breakfast, I'm probably going to want to watch something that's not too long, so maybe it'll push me a few 13-minute videos from some specific creators I tend to watch in the morning. In the evening, it's more willing to push me the content that is like, longer form. Maybe I'm willing to watch a swoop documentary or something, and those can be like 3 or 4 hours long. So, but it's the evening time. I tend to sit down more in front of the TV. Now that could just be a coincidence, but it's a personal theory of mine that that's how specific the algorithm is. And that's why it's so complex. So anyway, all that to say, imagine it from YouTube's perspective, and you are just trying to make content that hopefully certain viewers want to see enough to where you can be in those recommendations. That's kind of how it works. So try not to worry about learning the magic and try to learn people, learn audiences, learn your audience, the people that you want to make content for. Don't worry about the computer program pushing content to them. That's never going to be something you can control, really. It's, are you making stuff that a certain group of people wants to watch? And try not to make it for all the people. Make it for a certain group of people. Start there. Maybe one day you become as big as Mr. Beast and you can branch out to the entire population of the globe. That's very rare. Don't put that kind of stress on yourself. What are other apps for thumbnail creation other than Photoshop?
Apps. Okay, so we talk about it a lot, but Canva is one that's pretty popular and it's free. There is a version, a paid version that has like a lot of AI tools. So if you select something out of an image and hit a button, it can like get rid of it out of the image. Those are pretty easy to do, but that kind of feature is something that you can just hold on your phone, like an image on your phone, and also do the same thing. You can just get rid of it. So it's becoming easier, but there's Canva. Photopea.com is one that is exactly like Photoshop, like almost down to every tool. It has like ads on the side, which even ad block, it won't block it. So it's super annoying. But yeah, there's Photopea. I'm pretty sure they have an app. And then Affinity and GIMP. GIMP is one that's also free and it's also open source. So there are a lot of like fan-made tools to include on it. But once you start learning GIMP, it's like you probably should stick with it because it's very different from everything else. So it's just, yeah, I would say that those are like the top 4 free ones.
What should I do? A thumbnail has low click-through rate and barely any impressions.
Low click-through rate and barely any. Okay, so you're not getting many impressions, right? Which means that probably YouTube doesn't know what your audience is. So maybe a clarity of concept on your video, like what your video is actually about. If it's clearly about something and it's in the title and you're talking about it in the video, which the algorithm will know, then it'll know what to show your video to, like what audience to show your video to. If there's no clarity in that, it's not going to know, and it's just going to test here and there, which gives you low impressions. And those impressions, it's not very sure, and so they're most likely not going to click because it's the wrong audience, and therefore you have the low CTR. So a clarity of your video concept, making that as clear as possible to the algorithm and humans in general, and that'll fix that right up.
How often should you try a new thumbnail, and when to accept defeat? This is something I'm personally struggling with. As often as you can tolerate, up until the point where you are not miserable from the entire process.
Yeah, when you try a new thumbnail, I don't know. Some people say like after 24 hours, just to kind of get the right amount of data from the first one. I don't really know. I've tried. I mean, the one that I changed, I did within 12 hours, and my CTR went from like 2.5% to 11.6, and so that was obviously a good call, and it was a better thumbnail. Conceptually, it came across a lot better. I think you accept defeat when you should start focusing on a new video as soon as you can. And when you do that, let it go. You know what I mean? Because I hate that it's like this, but YouTube is a quantity game. The more you put out, the better, the more opportunities you have of making it, and one of them hitting big. That's not to say that you should
matters.
Put out crap.
Right.
Yeah.
But more shots at the target is more shots at the target.
Right. Yeah, and also you learn with everyone. So
yeah, I found that because I have a couple older videos that I'm really upset about because I loved the way they turned out, and I've never quite nailed the packaging. So I've taken a step away from them, worked on something else, be it live streams or videos or whatever. And then after recharging my batteries a little bit, I'm like, I have a new way I could pitch this. And then I try it anyway. And I go and look, is the video still getting impressions? Yeah, the click-through rate's still crap, and the video's still getting impressions. All right, what could it hurt? What could it harm? It's not taking off. It's been around for a while, so it's never too late, but it can weigh on you because you start to like focus only on like how can I make this packaging good? How can I make this packaging good? And then you're not making the decisions for your next video. Like it is that balancing act. Like it's great that we can so easily update this stuff, and updating it can work, but so can uploading new videos too.
Yeah, no doubt. I noticed that when I've gotten into the habit, I'm starting a new channel, and I'm getting in the habit of knowing exactly what the packaging is before I make the video. And it really helps because I know exactly what to talk about in the video. And once it's done and uploaded, I never will ever second guess the thumbnail that started the idea of the video. Not anymore, because I spent so much work catering that video to that specific packaging that if anything's going to work, it's that. And if it doesn't work, then so be it. I'm not going to focus on it. Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. It was the topic.
Yeah. Sometimes it is. Yeah, sometimes it is the topic. You did a perfect job on the title and thumbnail. You communicated it great. People didn't like what they saw. Or they just didn't not like it either. They had no feelings, which is sometimes not great.
Right.
Why does YouTube only push to subscribers but not new viewers? I wanted to pick this one because it is just not true. YouTube, maybe when you say subscribers, you just mean returning viewers. So it's a little bit different. If you're finding that you continually get views from the same audience and you're not pulling in a lot of new viewers, it means it's time to make some content with the intent of bringing in new viewers. Now, you're a homesteading channel, so let me just imagine a topic, for example. I'm not looking at your channel right now, so I'm just making stuff up here. But let's say adjacent to homesteading, you're gardening. Now, you could do videos, a vlog about your garden and your experience and the things that you are learning through having this garden, right? that is probably content that new viewers would enjoy, but the people clicking on it are the people who already know you and already following you on your journey. Content you could make that would make sense for your channel to bring in some new people would be some kind of how-to tutorial on like how to make a raised bed garden, right? Like, and you're going to approach it from the perspective of people don't know me, people watching this video, people don't know how to garden even. They don't even know what vocabulary to use when they're searching for this stuff. So they may not even know how to say raised bed garden, like how to make backyard garden, you know? So you're trying to bring in people who, you know, your expertise can help them. The things you take for granted, they don't know. So that is kind of the difference. And sometimes we make content for our community, and sometimes we make content for newer viewers. A great example right now, if you want to look on our channel, is Travis and Jen have a podcast. It's called The Boost. And some of the videos they did intentionally were for people who regularly watch vidIQ and not necessarily for newer viewers. Like they did, I'd have to pull them up to like, I don't want to misrepresent any of them, but like there's been a number of them that are designed for our more community like minded folks, the people who already know us. And those are intentional. Whereas like if you see us upload a video about how to get your first 1,000 subscribers, if you're sitting there seeing like, oh, well, I've already seen a video like that from them, maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's for newer viewers who are just starting out, and we've realized we need to update some of our information. So there's intent behind every video, and if you're finding you're not getting new viewers, that's probably why. You gotta make content that caters to them sometimes. Whew, sorry. I'm trying to answer these quickly, but I keep talking a lot. Why do thumbnails integrating memes seem to perform worse? This could be a lot of reasons.
Yeah, it could be a lot of reasons. It could just be a lack of concept or like people. Okay, so I guess it really depends on your niche. If it's just a meme niche, then like, man, established ones work well. But if you're just like integrating, like say if you have a channel like Finzar, who is a popular YouTube editor, and he puts memes in his thumbnails and they don't hurt. So I guess it just depends on what the concept is of your video. Because if it's about law, you know, if you're studying law and you put a meme in it, it might be a lack of professionalism. You know, it's tough to know without actually knowing your niche.
If people don't get the meme, that can also work against you. So keep in mind, it's just everything has like it trends amongst certain people. Sleepy Time Sims says, any advice for episodic Let's Plays in regards to concept, consistency, and thumbnails? Yes. I picked this one because I relate to this one quite a bit. If you can do a persistent, I want to say challenge or series where, especially in The Sims, you are building something and over time that something continues to expand, you have an automatic story that you're telling. So I think your series, I think, so a lot of times we'll sit here and say, you should focus on your video concept, right? For you should focus on your series concept. And I want you to go deep. I want you to think about subplots that you could try and work towards throughout the series. Like, let's say your sim, like you want to make, you're thinking to yourself, I want there to be conflict. So I'm going to have my sim try and like not be friends with somebody, like just be an enemy to another person in the neighborhood. You continue to sometimes tap into that throughout the series, right? Like you need elements that kind of bridge the gap to make the series worth watching. So when somebody sees episode 5 and they click on it, having been a new viewer, they're like, oh, there's like a background story to some of the stuff going on here. And they want to automatically go back to episode 1. And that's, if you do it right, episode 1 will always have more views than the other episodes because people are watching kind of a recent one and they're going back to the beginning and watching all the way through. So episode 1's always kind of the king. Once you're done with the series, make sure there's a way to end. Find yourself an exit strategy. Do what I always tell gaming channels to do and compile it. Wait a few weeks and compile it into one massive video. I don't care how long it is, as long as it's under 12 hours, because you can't upload more than 12 hours. Put that video out as a full-blown, like, you know, full series kind of video. A lot of creators do this. You would be surprised how well it works. At first, it's not going to do very well. And you'll be like, Dan's an idiot. And then wait a couple weeks. You know, as long as the series was good and people were watching the individual episodes, you will find that full-blown 12-hour series that you put out as one video usurps all the other episodes, you know. So if you're going to do a Let's Play, don't just turn on the recording software and go without a plan. plan your whole thing. Like, what are you trying to achieve, and what are some fun things you could do along the way to keep people hooked on the story throughout. Sorry, John. I did it.
No,
again.
no, it's okay.
I talked for 10 hours. Well, last
saying
question,
that,
and then we're gonna go back to thumbnail.
it just reminded me of PewDiePie when he made the story of Bonky. Did you ever see that?
I didn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he made story when he played Minecraft. He would make stories and characters and everything, and then you would just follow it. Like it's a series to watch. Each thumbnail had the consistency of him, but like it was a new story part of what he was doing. It's very cool.
How important is it to have channel style defined? I feel all my thumbnails are very different from each other. So thumbnail style for the channel. Oh,
good. No, I think obviously you don't want to go like absolutely opposite. But like, I like the idea that you can experiment in different ways. I think that opens up opportunities that one is going to work, and then you're going to learn that's it. But if you're starting with, if you're a new YouTuber and you're starting, okay, this is my established thumbnail style, I think it's a mistake, but because I think that hinders the learning process.
Yeah, I think you should allow yourself to deviate from the style. But having a style is good. Like I imagine, like so Healthy Gamer GG, Dr. K, we talk about him sometimes. He's got a very particular thumbnail style, and I know exactly when it's one of his videos coming up, and it's a very versatile thumbnail style, the way he does his thumbnails. But every once in a while, he will do one that kind of breaks the mold a little bit, and I think that's also good to do as well.
Yep. Yeah, he has like graph thumbnails, and they like perform every time. And then every now and then he'll do like a live stream thumbnail of him and I don't know, like Moist Critical or whatever, and like he'll have the half and half. Yeah, it works.
And then Heart Central became a member. Thank you so much. Enjoy your emotes, and thank you for your questions. If we have time, we'll do some more. That segment lasted longer than I expected. Let's get back to thumbnails. Oh,
this person said, "What about old YouTubers that suck at thumbnails?" Just keep watching.
Wait, no, that's interesting. So, like, a channel that's been around for a while, and you feel like their thumbnails maybe haven't kept up. Sometimes people have like such fame behind them that they don't need to worry too much about the thumbnail because their personality is the brand because they're that famous. So don't worry about them is the answer, honestly.
No doubt. I thought he was talking about himself and that he's old and he doesn't know how to make thumbnails.
It could be that too. But
that's what I was thinking.
Then skill up. It's never too late to skill up.
Yep. Just keep watching. Yeah. One of my favorite things is going out and looking at different styles and really trying to do something different, which I have an example of, and I'll show in the next stream. Okay, I've picked a bunch of channels, and we're just gonna rapid fire it. Okay, so playing Roblox, worst knockoff games. This is Real Rye, Pet Sim, Roblox Cat Coin knockoff.
Okay.
Okay.
So they spelled it out too much here, John.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The red text isn't working super well, but at least we can read it. I think you should have gone to the Roblox page with all the games on it and photoshopped it in a way where the Pet Sim game was on one side and it looked like it was sitting next to the clone, the knockoff game. And then you put knockoff above the knockoff one or something. Like it should look like familiar to the person who's seeing it. So it should be the menu of Roblox with all the games on the screen. And then you focus on those two. But like what you've done here is clever, but almost a little too clever. And yeah.
How do you? Oh, this is what you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So you Photoshop it so you get rid of the ones that are not. You find a picture of the knockoff one and a picture of the one you're referring to. Yes, and it's zoomed in like this.
Like yeah.
And you leave, so you only have the games and their titles underneath, and then you have some text around them. Yes, exactly.
Like this. Yeah. Okay. Like,
and then you leave space for some text at the top that's like original knockoff or something like that. And or you could do the Ryan Trahan style, like you make it look like a Yelp review with like 1 star, like testing knockoff Roblox games, and make the review say something like this is crap or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I think that would work really well, especially if this is like so familiar. It's recognizable. Sorry, wrong one.
They have a really good concept, though. It's not just playing Roblox. They're doing something very specific, and I love that for them. This is 22 hours ago, 169 views, and 81 subscribers. This video for you is already probably an outlier for you, and I love that. I think that if you like the idea that we just gave you, try a thumbnail test and compare. Leave the one you have because it's getting clicks, and add this other concept to your test and compare.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say, there is not a defined line in the middle of this. So somebody that's unfamiliar with what's going on, like myself, it looks like it's called Pet Sim Cat Coin Roblox knockoff. And it's got that Walking Dead, don't dead, open inside or whatever. You know that meme?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that if you wanted to keep this, I would definitely define a line in the middle. But it's tough. I just want it to be known that this color of red bouncing off of this blue is like eye-straining contrast.
Yeah, we don't like it.
It's just not, yeah. So, yeah, just something to consider. I would make it white, personally, if we were even sticking to the
yellow.
Blue sky. Yellow off blue always works. Always.
A bright yellow, too. Not this weird, like, kind of faded, I don't know, what do you call it? Pastel kind of color.
Right, yeah. Dang it, why do I keep opening this? Okay, so I wanted to say something before we move on. Witty Wave, if you're still out there, I saw the video that you submitted. It is not something that we can review, just the topic itself. I just wanted to let you know that I'm sorry. All right, so how to succeed. This is Tropiscape Aquatics, the only thing you need to know for planting tank success. My brain stopped there for a second. This is really interesting because the glow, like, it's something new to me, especially in this this fishy niche.
Yeah, fishy niche.
Also, the text is not, like, the way that it's separated is not something I would ever do or think to do, but it, like, leaves an open space for you to see what's going on, and I think that was smart too. I probably wouldn't change much about it, and it's also doing really well. 4,000 views. Yeah, Dan, do you have anything? I think
this is awesome thumbnail, awesome title. I think good execution all around. I don't have any critiques there.
Word. Okay, this is In Times Like These, a web drama. So it's a episodic. One thing I wanted to see is if they all kind of look like this, and it's different scenes. Okay, yeah, so.
Okay. Can we look at the videos as a whole and try and, like, get... Because I feel like this one we're going to need a more zoomed out view. What if we click popular? Maybe one of these episodes is, like, 153.
The True Story of Soaps.
Why did 153 in particular... Okay, and then there was a recap video that did well. You know what? It's interesting. In Times Like These, a web drama, week of September 4th, 2023 recap. A lot of people watch that, and it makes me wonder if your new viewers are so overwhelmed by the amount of episodes you've done that the recaps are necessary, which means maybe it's time, if you have a good, like, season of this now, maybe it's time to do what I just told that gaming channel to do a little while ago and compile that into one massive video. Play with the title a little bit, you know, but get all, like, get the first 100 episodes or something where there's a nice clear ending, right? Don't just leave them hanging, because that's going to be more approachable to a new audience at the point you're at. You're almost at 200 episodes. Congrats, but we're probably overwhelming viewers at this point. So that seeing 1,000 views on that recap video tells me there's definitely something there, and new viewers might be feeling a bit like they really, really need to understand, like, okay, I have to, you know, I have to get into this somehow. What's the best way? Maybe you can provide that.
Yeah, this is a great point. When going to your channel, first, I think that the banner could probably get across a little more that it's an animated series that you've got going on here. But you have to scroll all the way down to get to playlists, and they're only listed by year. If you had your playlist right up here, probably it would pop up under the For You
that would
thing.
help. Yeah.
And it said season 1, season 2, season 3. I think that it would just be like, this is totally digestible and it's easy to start and know where I left off. So just something to consider. As far as your thumbnail, I don't think that there's much I can say because this, like, what can you change about it that like it would change everything you're doing? Like I would hate to do that.
I think, okay, so I don't know what this series is about, but what I would be doing is trying to make my video title thumbnail reflect something that more people can relate to. Because unspoken yearnings is not, it's so vague, and it doesn't tell me on like a personal level like what this series and what this particular episode is actually about. You titled it like the chapter of a book, you know, and that's not going to work, unfortunately, on YouTube. We need this to be relatable to more people, and that's unfortunately I don't know enough about your series to give you a specific example, but hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. You have to think about this from a new viewer's perspective. What would a new viewer click on if they've never seen your content before? They're brand new to the series and the style of content. Like, how can you title your video so it sounds like a web drama, but it also sounds like it covers themes that are more relatable to people?
That is a really, really good point. Yep. Yeah, focusing, like something I say to gaming channels is focusing on the most epic part of your video, or funny, or dramatic. Obviously, this would be dramatic. So, like the biggest part that evokes the most emotion, make that on the thumbnail for sure.
Can you type into the search bar, "That's a bad idea"? This is not going to be the best example, but it's the only one I can think of right now. All right, click on the channel, and then click videos, and so this is a comedy channel. And these guys are really funny. Look at the text in the thumbnails. So, and the title. How to get out of a speeding ticket. He needs a baby quick. So, I'm bringing this up because I like this guy dines and dashes. You know what I mean? Like, I bring this channel up because I just love it. These guys are really funny to me. But it's the text in the thumbnail that really gets me. Like, this guy dines and dashes. Can you do that for your animated series where you explain with like a line of text what it is about this character that anyone can understand? We all know what dining and dashing is, right? And so these are just stills from the videos with a little bit of text explaining like the bit that's kind of like intriguing, funny, whatever it might be. So I don't know. This is just a way, like a comedy channel is so difficult, and these guys have something that's very like magical here, and it works really well for them. This guy thought a commercial was real. See how these are all relatable? Like, you don't have to know. I don't need any background knowledge to want to click any of these. It's just, you know, when your friend didn't like Dune, they're just all very like relatable. This channel is the really best way to describe it. It probably doesn't work super well for the animation channel we were looking at, but like, maybe it just gets my point across, and that's all I need.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't know that these guys were called That's a Bad Idea. That's funny. I didn't expect to see those faces when you said that. Okay, how to get the mace in Minecraft. I do dig this, but I don't think it's like how to get it. You know, it shows me something, you know, it shows me the mace. And maybe if you replace this area with an arrow, like how to get, it would be pretty easy to understand. Yeah, like how to get up here with an arrow pointing at the mace, and then you could just blur the background. That's just like a quick idea that I would have, and it's got views. Like, people want to know how to get it, so you want to kind of limit the amount of friction it takes between them and clicking your video. So I
would just put something behind it. It's blending into the background a little bit.
Yeah.
So it definitely needs something behind it, like an outline or a shadow that's a lot stronger than what's there now. And yeah, I like your suggestion of some text. I don't know what the armadillo or whatever they call that mob has to do with it. It probably has something to do with it, but that might be like insider knowledge. So maybe we just focus on the tool itself and not the nuances of like, well, you have to kill one of these things. You know, people don't know that because they don't know how to get it.
Yep. All right. So, well, maybe if you can only get it in that area, like in that biome,
Yeah,
then
perhaps.
maybe. Yeah. Okay. Um, Anadeo Distillery Tour. This is Aspie Travels. From Johnny Walker to Modern Masterpiece. I do really like the picture. I think it's cool. I just think that it's a lot of text, and the font you chose is very it's difficult. It's overwhelming as soon as you see it. I don't want to read all that, and you just move on. So maybe I would keep it limited to the amount of words. If you're using that's impact, I know that's the font. I think you got a really cool picture, though. I just don't know if there might be a better one to show. And also, you might not even need text in the thumbnail.
What? I'm sorry. I'm not a big drinker. What does a distillery make? Is it beer or is it something else? Like, what is the beverage in a distillery?
I think a distillery does like liquor of some sort, and breweries do beer, but I don't know that for sure.
Breweries do beer. Yeah. Okay. So whiskey. Okay. Thank you. So, and they're here, which is great.
Whiskey.
I mispronounced your name earlier, and now it's kind of Aspie Travels sounds really funny to me. Sorry. In any case, you have a great picture. If you click on the thumbnail, you have a great picture of the tanks there. Instead of that font, what if you had just taken an arrow and pointed at one and just said whiskey, like you did here in all caps?
I love that.
You laugh, but it's just the very literal, like, what is this a picture of? If you're like me and you don't know anything about alcohol, whiskey.
It's whiskey. Yeah, it's Aspie. Yeah, we get it. So this picture right here reminded me of a drunk Willy Wonka. So it might, like, the chocolate factory. It just, yeah, it's just something that I thought was funny. It could be pointed out. So yeah. But I like that idea, whiskey, because I mean, I don't know what that stuff is unless you pointed that out. If it pointed and said whiskey, I would know immediately. Like, this thing is full of whiskey.
I also think the font you chose, you mentioned it's the impact font. People associate this font with memes. And so when I read it, I automatically read it in a joking voice in my head because I assume it's trying to make me laugh. And that's a weird thing to say, but that is, after seeing it in this context, that is still how I feel about this font. I feel like this font is now ruined.
Man, I totally forgot that memes used to be that font. I mean, I don't see that many.
I don't see them anymore as much, but for me, I've seen enough of them where I'm like, that's the impact font. That's the joke font. It's kind of like the more modern Comic Sans, I guess.
Yes, sir. Okay. Let's move on to ranked be like. That one Willow main is the channel. Ranked be like is the title, and randoms is the thumbnail pointing out. I don't know what game this is.
I don't know either, but I get what they're trying to say. They're trying to say this is what ranked games are like. I would have made I would have zoomed in more on the characters. Still leaving room for the word randoms. It's just the extra elements on the screen and the negative space is not doing much for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the only thing catching me up about this is the concept, which I don't play many games, so I'm glad you're here to really. I wouldn't even.
I don't play this game,
known what ranked games is.
Yeah,
I guess it's like they all. Okay, I get it now.
It counts probably towards some kind of prestige score or something. Like something. It's probably ranked and unranked matches, and so ranked matches seem like they're not going super well. I wonder if you could have communicated that even more clearly, because it does look like there's maybe a few people kind of layered on top of each other there, but the chaos is kind of missing for me. So I would have looked at some other thumbnails too to get some other ideas. But yeah, I don't like the negative space in the bottom left half of the thumbnail.
Yeah, I totally agree. Aesthetically, that is not pleasing. I get that they might have wanted to show the UI, or it's just a screen cap and they threw words on it, which it works sometimes. But yeah, I think cropping into the chaos is great. I would check out more thumbnails like this, but I don't even know what to search. What game that is. This one is interesting. When someone says that's not art, okay, so this might be like a rant of some. Okay, I don't. What is going on here?
Okay, so the video for me. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at all the text and stuff. Okay, so this, now that I see that, this is clearly a piece of her art in the background. Not art, question mark. So in this context, I don't know what this is in the background. See, right here, you have this, like, hexagon canvas. And I can see that, yeah, these are canvases, okay? I don't know that this is a painting of some sort. So if this was on a wall, and then not art was... Yeah. That would work a little bit better.
Yeah, either of those, so you can see it a little more zoomed out and then leave room for the not art question mark. And like that, yeah, because that puts like a more personal touch on it. And we can see, because the title was like, when people tell you that's not art or whatever, that would communicate the story along with the title and add that human element to it. You're in the video, so yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there. I got excited when I realized what was going on.
Yeah, no doubt. This is just like it almost looks like a mixture of like chemicals or something without the context that it's on a canvas.
It looks really cool. I would put that on a canvas
really cool.
and hang it up. It looks awesome. So I think that video is very interesting because it's expressing a frustration, I think. And, you know, I'm sure this creator has experienced with whatever it is that they're like communicating there in the thumbnail, and they want to elaborate on it. So that if that's a canvas, it's hard to see because the wall is very similar in color to the canvas. So you'd want a little more contrast, but
yeah. Yeah, just a little editing tip here. This beginning, there's so much text everywhere. Just try to focus on what you're trying to get across in the beginning. And I would say, what is that one? Maybe it's Beethoven. Ba, 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 ba,
yeah.
Like just like something classical and like painting, just like showing all of your art, and then it goes black. And then, like, in quotes, and they say, that's not art. And then, you talk, you know, a little more of an impact in an intro is what I would aim for. Because every time I see something that you've made, you put text in front of it. And it's difficult to, like, they say real artists use brushes. And I'm like, I can't see what you're trying to show me. So, just something to consider. Okay. Roblox Untitled tag game, but in third person. Dan, do you know what that means? Untitled.
Wait, so what's the title of the video? Roblox Untitled tag game. So it's probably literally called Untitled Tag Game. And
okay,
I wouldn't worry about that too much. I like this thumbnail. It's hard to suggest improvements because they have 765 views or subscribers and 11,000 views.
Yeah,
I think
it's a good one.
Clearly, you nailed it.
Yeah, I guess you did. I mean, we could check the Untitled tag game, but it's tough because I don't know the niche so well. But it looks like you.
Yeah, it's Untitled tag game.
You have your own version of this. I would say you did well. It seems like they're putting Untitled tag game in the.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of work went into that thumbnail.
Yeah.
I don't want to suggest an improvement because I don't want the creator to change it. However, if you use Photoshop, I guess the one thing you could have done is selected the stuff in the background and just told it to remove those things, so you were left with more blue sky in the background and less the castle, just to make it a little less textured in the background, like a little less complex. But you didn't need that. You didn't need that at all. It did fantastic. I would be very proud of this video, and I hope you're not thinking of changing it. It looks really good.
Yep. I agree. Maybe the text I would aesthetically change to yellow or white to really pop off that blue and kind of like make the stroke maybe white or something. But yeah, other than that, good job. Okay, Paper Mario, why the Origami King is better than Thousand Year Door. I saw this, and you have this like paper aesthetic. Even like the greater than symbol is paper, like it's ripped out. I don't know what you could do to improve this. Like it gets the idea across. Maybe if you put characters specific to those separate games in there, like if they have a special style or whatever, it might be easier to connect. But I think that this is in this style, I think this might be the way to go about it. What do you think, Dan?
I do too. I think there's this is more like probably a controversial video because I don't know if people feel this way. I have not played either, but I know Thousand Year Door just came out as a re-release and people were very excited about it. So it makes me wonder, did Origami King, which I at least knew the name Thousand Year Door. I haven't heard Origami King too much. So I'm like, is this person doing like the YouTube thing where you give an opinion that counters everybody else's opinion of something? And we saw success, views matching subscribers pretty much, and it's not a very old video. Again, another thumbnail where I wouldn't really recommend any changes. The only tiny thing that's bothering me is the word "the" is at the very, 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 very edge of the thumbnail on the left, and that's not a huge deal. You just got it in there.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
It's very controversial. This is a very hot take. Yeah, that's what it felt like. So, good job. Excellent work. Everyone who disagrees with you is probably going to go over there and argue with you later.
Okay, thank you, the Renaissance. Focused is the channel here. I caught this a little bit, but I did.
I don't get it.
Okay, so you went from 0 kills to 30 kills.
But there's no dead people.
Oh, that's true. This definitely looks more architecture focused. Also, there's no. Maybe that's not the idea you're trying to get across. Maybe it's I went from 30 or 0 to 30. Like I don't know that for sure. It's just a really hard concept to get across. Fortnite, but 1 kill equals more realistic. Now I'm totally confused.
Oh, okay. I see what they're saying. So, like, more realistic is realistic is the word that's kind of throwing me for a loop here. But like, every time you get a kill, the game gets maybe easier to look at. Is the challenge? The thumbnail on its own, though, I really for 30 kills, I wanted to see a pile of mangled bodies, but you don't have that. Now I'm wondering if the concept is just it relies on the title, which is okay. You can do that. But the realistic part is what's getting me, because on the left it doesn't look realistic. It just looks kind of like crappy.
Yeah.
So I would use maybe a different word to describe it. I just don't know what word.
I mean, looking through, I'm not sure what the change is.
Yeah. The video itself too. Now we're asking ourselves, is it clickbait? Because the beginning of the video didn't look very bad. And the end of the video looks the same. So everything's sharp and everything looks good. Yep, we're still only a couple minutes in. Everything looks good. Presumably you haven't gotten your 30 kills yet.
Yeah. I think maybe this is a concept issue here. If that's the idea that you're trying to get across. So outside of your thumbnail, I hope you can see the confusion that we just experienced. And just that's the case with new viewers. So a new viewer will come in and probably they would only give that a couple seconds before they don't understand it and they would move on. And we're trying to break it down, so we're here longer. I just hope that helps a little bit, because the thumbnail here definitely isn't the issue. What was that?
This is somebody who gets me, that's all.
Okay. Churchill, 1 platoon in top tier. War Thunder Mobile. Okay. Man, games are tough for just because I don't understand them sometimes.
Camo's hard because it's, a multitude of colors. And now you're 2 different types of camoed tanks fighting each other.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a kind of a not a great. This looks like a still from the video that you turned into a thumbnail. I would have taken a different picture if you could, if possible. The two tanks side by side, not on top of each other.
Yep. Yeah, because I didn't understand it. Just like if if it was outlined, if this tank was like outlined and it was very, very clear that it was a different tank, it would have worked. But even then, that would have been more work and less effective than just getting a different picture. Now I understand what's going on, though.
Keep in mind, though, again, I just saw the views. If you're going to change anything, do a test and don't take this thumbnail out of rotation because you've got a lot of views in a short amount of time and you don't have a ton of subscribers. So something is working, even though we don't like the thumbnail very much. Something's working, and when I'm always hesitant to rock the boat too much on something that's doing well.
You know, if there's a way that they could get across the same concept here, if this one was on fire or something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like this, yeah.
Okay. Little, I don't like that this tank is in the shadows, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. well, yeah. Okay. There's definitely an idea that come across with a little more clarity. Okay, that is the end of. I was gonna try to do a rapid fire, but we went.
We're not
a little
very
more
rapid.
in depth.
We're methodical.
Right. We can try to do a little rapidness. 423.
I wouldn't promise rapidness. I think we're gonna take our time, and I get that a lot of you want your thumbnails on the screen. Totally understand that. We're hoping that the advice we're giving is applicable to some of your channels. That's why we're looking at so many different types of channels. Now we're looking at a tech channel with a phone review, and you know, a lot of the stuff we're saying that these concepts are transferable.
Yes, indeed. And the strategy that I'm about to use is something that I use in every type. Like if I give it my full attention, I'll use it in every niche, no matter what. Will 80% charge be enough for a full day of content creation? Okay. This is a little different than what I expected because I thought it was a phone review.
Yes,
and
I did too.
That's the vibe that you're getting. Now, your concept is cool. Will 80% charge be enough for a full day? You could start on the left with an 80% phone, and then after your full day, you could have the battery at a certain length. It could be red, but you have it blurred out so people don't know if it lasted or not. Possibly.
Yeah. That's a split screen situation.
Yeah, it's a split screen. I was gonna. The strategy I was talking about was I was gonna go search for tech review, like phone review channels, to see what they do, and now that doesn't apply because it's a totally different.
Yeah.
Thing.
Last thing I'll say before we move on is the stakes. I know this kind of busts the whole video. In my opinion, the stakes are not high enough. 80% does feel like enough for a full day, especially on a newer phone. If it was 50% or less, I would be a little more like, ooh, you know, a full day, 50%. But 80% feels like you almost have a fully charged phone. So to me, there's a concept thing. If other people feel the same way I do, it's going to struggle to get the click.
It almost seems like they used their phone for a whole day of content creation and then went back and saw what the battery is at, and then that's the percentage that they used for the title because the idea came afterward. Because I see they're specific about their phone, which is the phone that I have, which is not important. I don't.
Yeah, if it is a phone review video, you're trying to be clever with the title. I think it makes it difficult. It was kind of a miss there. It was a little too clever in that case.
Okay, slice 2x. Slice 2 times, maybe? Ooh, solid start. Okay, free refresh. This is the kind of vibe that I get from Fortnite thumbnails a lot. Okay, so Dan, you might be better at this than me on knowing if this would work or not. But this is the kind of thing I expect when it comes to Fortnite thumbnails.
Yeah, I have one issue with this thumbnail, and it's the concept is cool, sound. I like it. It's cool. The bottle that he's holding is almost the same exact size as the separate picture that you put on the screen. So it almost feels like you were like, I probably need a picture here to reference the thing that needs to be refreshed, but the picture isn't any bigger than the one in his hand. So I guess that's my issue is like free refresh and you're pointing at it and that's fine. But it's like, if you wanted to be more clear, I would want to see that bottle way larger on the other half of the thumbnail or something. I don't know if it needs that. I'm not saying it needs that. I'm just saying that little thing in the corner now just feels like something they tacked on at the end. Like, I don't like this negative space, you know? And it's like, well, it's not really adding anything because it's still so small.
Right. Yeah, if you made this guy larger, like really filled it out to where you wouldn't have this negative space, and you took this and put it over here where the free refresh is, it's a free refresh, here's the item, then I think that could work a little bit better. Taking what Dan is saying about the negative space, because there's plenty over here. I don't know if the red, it almost seems like it's bad. It's a bad thing. And if you put it white behind a red background, just like this meta thing says,
yeah.
I think that would come across a little better. And the 61, if that's super important, which I don't know, I guess you can keep it, but it does distract from the idea, maybe. So, yeah. Unless that's the result.
Yeah, in the end, this thumbnail and a lot of thumbnails we've seen today are us almost nitpicking.
Yep.
If your videos are getting views, especially if your views are starting to crest over your subscriber count, if your views are more impressive than what you're used to, you're not doing a bad job. Like we could sit here and min-max your thumbnails all day long, but at the end of the day, we would prefer it. I think, John, you would agree with this, that we would like to see incremental improvements over time, because trying to improve your entire workflow in one go is really exhausting and overwhelming in a lot of cases. And so many thumbnails say we're good. They were really good thumbnails, and we, sometimes we feel pressure. It's like, well, they submitted their thumbnail, they were picked. They must think that needs some kind of like lift. So I guess we could nitpick it a little bit, But some of the views we saw today, I've said multiple times today, don't change anything in this case. It looks really good, or add it to a thumbnail test so you keep the original and you don't, So you guys are doing awesome work. Just so many great thumbnails today.
Yeah, I totally agree. It seems like every time I do a stream, they just keep getting better and better, and I see a lot of like repeat names in the forums too. So like they're working hard at it. It's pretty clear to me, and that's how I learned too. Is just especially with that test and compare, it's going to be a game changer for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, I would say that's it for us for today. Really appreciate you guys being here, and next week, right? No, not next week. The week after, that following Wednesday, that's when I'll be back. And yeah, so come on back and get your thumbnails reviewed.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, see ya.